I'm Isabella Blackman, and this is vlog number 3. I'm going to be talking about chapter 11. So in chapter 11, the author discusses the difference between critical evaluation and people's opinions based on movies, books, TV shows, that kind of thing. The book talks about 4 standards of evaluation, and this is in order for people to forge their own opinions based on like their own perspectives of things and not have to rely on the opinions of like other people and what they believe. It's what you believe yourself. So the first is artistic standard, which means, is it visually pleasing? Is it artistic? Do people like it? Does it spark a response? That kind of thing. And the example I thought of is the show Game of Thrones. Huge fan base. People love it. People do fan art. People write about it. People do whatever. There's books, there's movies. It's amazing. And super visually pleasing, artistic. People enjoy it. And that is a really good example of that. So the second standard of evaluation is response standard. And that is about, is the language or the rhetoric good? Do people like it? Do people respond to it well? And that's more, it's kind of the same thing, but not like the visuals. It's more of like the language itself. Is that pleasing? And the third is the accuracy standard. So that is basically, is it accurate in the now, in today's society? But, everything's constantly changing. What's accurate now wouldn't be accurate 10 years ago. So it's more about, like, in the now, like American culture now, society now. The last standard is moral standard, but everyone has different morals, different morals based on religion, based on their own views, their own experiences. So that's why it's for your own opinion and not others' opinions, because your morals aren't going to be the same as, other people's morals. So the next part about chapter 11 talks about 2 rhetorical restraints. And, they listed out 4, but they only, went into detail on 2 of them. So I'll talk about those 2. The first was competing rhetorical actions. And in other words, that's understanding, all sides of something, all the views on one thing to fully understand what that thing is, understanding everyone's views on a situation or a problem, so you understand the problem or the situation completely and fully. The second is preceding or subsequent events, which means certain events take place that lead up and that get you to the end point, or your goal of something, or that kind of thing. It's just events leading up to something. So the book mentioned an example of Bono and how he wanted to help certain people living in Africa, and that sparked a huge response, and everybody wanted to do what he did, and those events led up to the goal of helping those people. Another example could be your own personal goals. I want to graduate from college, and the events I'm going to have to go through are going to class, and certain events doing finals and studying and going year after year, building up to my end goal of graduating. So that's another example. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the 2 essays that I had to read. Reading pop culture. That was the section. So the 2 essays were Snaps to Pop Culture and Public Displays of Transaction. So Snaps to Pop Culture discusses 2 platforms of social media, Vine and Snapchat. They have similarities, but the author talks about how different they are. So Vine is just little videos. I believe they're 6-second videos, and they're public for everyone to see. And now it isn't around anymore. The app is gone, but I grew up with it, so I know kind of what it was. And then Snapchat is 1 to 10 seconds videos or pictures, and you have the option of sending them to your friends, and it's private, just between 2 people, or you can make it public for only your friends that you have to see. And the author believes that Snapchat is better because it changes with us. It changes how our generation, how our society changes, and that is ultimately why Vine is not around anymore. Snapchat is just a better platform because it helps people adapt to how everything's changing around us. So, the second essay was public displays of transaction, and it talks specifically about the app Venmo. It's a money app. And I mean, I personally have it, and I think it's super convenient, and I love that app. But the author thinks that it's different from other forms of social media because you can see what someone's like really doing in their life. He talks about how you can't see like the exact amount of money that is being sent or received from people, but there's a little description box and it tells you, oh, this is for food. This is for, oh, I just went on a date. Oh, this is for wine. This is for different things. So you can see what that person's doing day to day. You can see who they're friends with. You can even see who they're dating. Like he used the example of how he saw that a girl was sending hearts to someone. So he could tell like, oh, like that's more sentimental than just being like, oh, this is for food. So he could tell like what's going on in people's lives more deeply and more on a day-to-day basis. And I just thought that was interesting personally because on social media, people post what they want you to see. They look good. They know they look good. They look like they're having a good time, and you don't really get to see like what they're actually doing or what their real life is like. And that's what I learned in this section. Thank you.